Big Friendly Swim podcast, and I'm the Big Friendly host. And today's guest is a sophomore at Northwestern.
Yeah, yeah.
Aaron, how are you?
Doing well. Thank you so much for having me. Really appreciate it.
Yeah, dude, thanks for being here. I'm glad we were able to set this up. So talk to me about that initial decision to swim at Northwestern. Like, what was it that first drew you to the team and solidified that like this is the place I want to be?
Yeah, so I like when I was getting recruited, I wasn't like a highly I wasn't super highly recruited because I wasn't that great like my sophomore year. And Northwestern was one of the schools that reached out to me. And like when I came on my visit, they were super personalized like for me. All the coach like I spoke with all the coaches. They all like showed like really good interest in me that I didn't really see in the other schools that I visited. And when I was on like my visit, I had like I felt really connected with the team that was already here. So when they like gave me the offer to come, I knew I had to take it just like from the team perspective. And then like just to push it even further, make it even better. Like we have world-class facilities, top 10 education in the country, so it's really just such a hard school to say no to, and they checked all of my boxes.
And correct me if I'm wrong. I think if my memory is correct, there's another podcast guest that I've had on who I think swims with you guys now. Kat Nikonova. Is she at North?
Yeah,
She's at Oh yeah.
yeah, she is.
As like it literally just popped into my brain. I'm like the connection was made. Um, so you're pursuing a degree in economics and a minor in I wrote it
Data
down, but
science.
data science. I wrote it down, but I
Yeah,
forgot.
no worries.
What are you hoping to do with that after like post graduation?
I honestly have no idea. Um, my brother did econ, and he's a consultant right now, like a restructuring consultant in New York City. So, like that'd be great, but I should kind of start figuring out what I'd like to do with this degree after school, but I'm still pretty unsure.
If it makes you feel any better, I was a biochemistry major for
Oh
most
wow.
of college, like for the first like 2.5 years. And then
Uh-huh.
like when COVID hit and like I couldn't do any like the in-person labs, we
Hmm.
came back to school and my first in-person class was like organic chemistry.
Hmm.
And I think I got like a 15% on the first midterm. And I was like, all right. It was like right around then like the podcast was taking off and I'm like, all right, maybe I pivot into journalism.
Yeah.
So it's been I feel like this is probably an understatement of the century, but it's been a bit of a busy year for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Coming back from spring break, like getting an ultrasound, like your diagnosis in May, starting chemotherapy, getting back in the water. Can you just sort of,
Hmm.
well, first take me through like the warning signs that you felt and like how, like the progression from that to actually getting the diagnosis, and then
Yeah.
just take me through the year and like what it's been like for you.
Yeah. So I feel like I started having pain, not pain, but like I started feeling something there when I was like 14 or 15 because I mentioned something to my pediatrician like on my annual physical when I was 15. And they said like, oh, it's nothing to worry about. Like it could just like it's nothing to worry about. And then 2 years later, like I still had like this same lump. So I asked again. They said it's like it's really nothing. And that was September of last year, so 15 months ago. Um, and then like the year was crazy. Like I kind of like didn't really think about it. I was just like trying to focus on school and swimming. So, and like I really just wanted to get through the season first because I felt like I could have a pretty good season. So, like that started with like Big Tens in February or like end of February, first week of March, and I was really happy with how that went. And then I went home for spring break end of May, or I mean end of March, and then I asked my athletic trainer to like get me an ultrasound or like some sort of scan because it started to like hurt like without like anything prompting it. So it just kind of hurt. So it took a couple weeks to get that ultrasound. So that ended up being like the first week of May. I got the ultrasound, got the diagnosis. Next day, I had my CT, like a CT, and that showed that it had spread. And so my dad's a doctor, so he kind of got me like in touch with people very quickly. Like he pulled like strings and asked for favors, like to get me like back home and like in surgery as soon as possible. So I think it was like 48 hours from diagnosis to me getting surgery. So it all just kind of happened super fast. And then right after surgery, I met with other doctors to see like what the next steps are. Came back to school, packed up all my things, went back home. I did 4 rounds of chemo, which was like 3 months. It was 4 rounds of like 3 weeks. Um, and then I had to get another surgery, and this one was like pretty big. It took like 9 hours, and they took out 27 other tumors. And then like the whole time I was just like thinking when I could get back to school, when I could start swimming again. Because that's all like I really wanted to do. Like I could do school from home, like I could do everything from home, except I couldn't swim like with my friends. So then finally I came back to campus. I couldn't swim for 3 months after my surgery just because of how large the incision was. And then finally getting back in 3 weeks ago from yesterday was just so nice.
I feel I don't remember who said this, but it was like some big Olympic swimmer said this. She described like being injured or having something that like holds you back from being in the water or just being able to do like your daily life routine. It just creates like this itch where you just go like stir crazy. Like telling
Yeah.
a swimmer to rest is like telling a dog not to run around.
Yeah. Like getting a day off from practice is nice, but once it's like
Yeah.
and it like a long period of time, it's just like it's horrible.
Yeah, exactly. So, talk to me about like getting back in the water and what it's felt like so far just from like an athletic standpoint. Like
Uh-huh.
that feeling of getting back in the water after like a long break is usually a difficult one to adapt to. So what's that been like?
Yeah. So, I mean, when I first got in, I was definitely like elated. I was so happy, but I felt horrible. And they were like the rest of my team was getting ready to go to sorry if you see something in the background. My
No,
roommate
you're
is like
good.
playing Brawl Stars. Um, sorry. So yeah, my team was getting ready to go to midseason, so they were just doing like a shakeout swim when I was doing my first practice. And like I think the longest I've ever gone without swimming is like 3 weeks. So 6 months was a lot for me. My rope, not that I was ever like an aerobic champion out here, but I'm like my aerobic capacity fell like to pretty much nothing. I started out with like 1,500 or 1,600 yards a day. But it was just like I didn't care how I felt. I was just so happy to be swimming again.
I mean I didn't have any injury or anything, but like I think the longest break I ever took from the pool was like after my collegiate career ended, and
Hmm.
like I was just like, all right, I'm gonna stay out of the water until my body tells me to get back and swim. And I think it was like from May to like September that I didn't swim. It was like one of the longest periods I hadn't gotten in the pool.
Hmm.
Um, and then like I don't. It was like a random day in September where I was just sitting in my room and I'm like, all right, it's time. Like it like a switch flipped and I'm like, all right, we're getting back in.
Yeah.
So
No, it's so hard to like, especially because I would show up to practice every day, like to watch my teammates swim, and then over the summer I coached my old club team. So just seeing everybody else like swimming and not being able to swim was like it was so hard.
it becomes so frustrating because like you're right there and like
Yeah.
you're like able to be a part of it, but like only a part of it like halfway.
Hmm.
It gets so frustrating.
Yeah.
So talk to me about like your support program because obviously like in situations like these like we're all fairly lucky in having like our own individual support programs. Like what's it been like to have your team and your family and your friends and just anybody who's supported you going through this?
Yeah. Like it definitely couldn't have I couldn't have gone through it without them. So like when I first got diagnosed, obviously having all of my friends with me made it a lot easier. because I was here. I was away from my family. My roommate in the back was bawling his eyes out when I told him at team lift. And it just shows like that like we all care for each other. And then going home, my family was obviously there for me, like setting up all these appointments, driving me everywhere, like making food and taking care of me when I wasn't feeling well. And then my friends would be like texting me, like friends and teammates, they'd be texting me, like calling me, asking how I was doing. Like Rachel, our head coach, would text me every morning asking how I felt. And just knowing like this is the support I have behind me, it made it a lot easier to have like a positive mentality. Because when things got hard, I knew that there were people behind me and things did get pretty hard. But and then I had people visit me. Like three of my closest friends on the team visited me. They were in New Jersey for 5 days, 4 or 5 days. And then there were some kids that were just like visiting New York for the like in the summer and they came to visit me as well. So it's just nice knowing like these are the people that I spend so much time with and they care about me when things aren't going well.
You know, there's a distinct like there's like a paragraph in like the article Northwestern wrote about you, um, where you talked about like your coach coming to the hospital room, like eating pizza with you and talking about swimming, and it
Yeah.
reminded me of like my younger brother was hospitalized for pneumonia like a few years. He's fine. He's like a few
Yeah.
years ago now, but like it reminded me of like when his friends came to surprise him like in the hospital room. He'd been there for like a week and like he
Hmm.
was losing his mind. Like my parents would ask him what's wrong, and he's like, "I've been in a hospital room for a week." They're like, "Why are
Yeah.
you annoyed?" He's like, "Because I've been sitting here." But just the look on his face of like when like 20 people filed into the room, all like being like, "Hi." Like I don't even know how the hospital let us have that many visitors at the same time. Um, but like it's definitely a special feeling to have like that support group around you that can be so like positive and influential in your life.
Yeah. No, I was like very quick tempered over the summer, obviously, because I was in like hospitals all the time. I couldn't do what I like really wanted to do. I was away from all my friends, so like just seeing Rachel and like seeing all my friends come was like it was just the best thing ever.
Yeah, like it's such a it's like an action that has like a small buy-in, like it's easy for people to do, but the impact of it is one that lasts much longer than the actual action itself.
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to draw some comparisons here between you and another like fairly prominent swimmer in the United States, Nathan Adrian,
Yeah.
who he was obviously diagnosed with testicular cancer in 2019, and he was a huge advocate for men's health and for like men getting physicals and getting tested and like making sure that they're okay. I just wanted to sort of give you a platform to talk about that because I know it's important for you as well, and it should be something that people are talking about more.
Yeah. So I actually reached out to Nathan when all this first happened and he responded to me and he gave me like lots of words of encouragement and that was like super important to me coming from somebody that I like really looked up to when I was younger and I still do now even when he's not swimming. So yeah, I would just say that men have to kind of be like their own spokesperson. There's nothing saying like, there's nobody telling you that you need to look out for your own health. Like, you need to step up for yourself. And like, when I did step up for myself, even when I was younger, I was kind of like belittled and it was pushed away when this ended up being something that could have been stopped so much earlier. So I would just say for everybody to advocate for their own health, because nobody else is gonna really do it for you.
I think that's really important to hear, and like I love that like Nathan actually like talked to you because he's so nice. Like
Yeah,
he's like this big like 6'6" like giant, and then he's just like the sweetest person ever. But it's it's so like heartwarming for me, and like just to see like people like you and people like Nathan who are using whatever platform they have to advocate for stuff like this. Because you're right, like it's one of those things where like you get told, "Oh, it's fine, like don't worry about it," and then it could have been stopped much sooner.
hmm yeah,
Well, Aaron, that's everything I got for you. That's we're going short and sweet today, but I'm really grateful that you sat down and talked with me. I'm really glad we were able
Yeah.
to do this.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, dude. This will get posted like honestly today.
Perfect.
Um, like I finals are done, so now I'm just full steam ahead on content.
Yeah,
But this will get posted like today.
perfect.
But yeah, thanks so much for sitting down with me, dude. I'm really glad we were able to set
Of
this up.
course. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah.